We continue from the previous episode as Gu Changge trailed behind with their companions, his gaze fixed on the demonic cloud. Gu Changge asked, "Why can't I shake off the feeling that there's someone far more sinister lurking within that demonic cloud?" He wondered, could it be the mistress of the demon mountain herself? Lady, she speculated, very likely. She's a notorious villain who's caused great concern throughout the entire upper realm. Neo Tian added, "I heard there was bad blood between her and Gu Changge." He continued, "In fact, when she was in the Divine City, it was Gu Changge who led a group to attack her." Lady, she then added, "I heard that only young Master Changge and the mistress of Demon Mountain survived the incident in Divine City, while the rest who were involved perished in that battle." Gu Changge then smiled silently and said, "It seems a deep grudge has been formed." The auctioneer and his companion appeared in front of the mobile palace. The auctioneer said, "I had long heard that Taoist Green Dragon had allied with Demon Mountain. So it was true." He then asked, "May I ask what business brings you all here this time?" Green Dragon chuckled and replied, "What's with that attitude, my friend?" He added, "Could it be that others are allowed to cut the 7 divine stones at the Divine Stone Assembly, but my Demon Mountain is not?" The auctioneer squinted his eyes and said, "If your intention is to cut open some stones, we naturally welcome you." He added, "However, I implore you to refrain from any reckless behavior." His companion then added, "Otherwise, I cannot guarantee that I will show mercy." Elder Master Green Dragon stepped forward and cut them off, saying, "Enough talk." He asked, "What do you want in exchange for that cursed rock that just emerged?" The crowd down below murmured, "So, you're after the ominous stone, huh?" The auctioneer then explained, "This ominous stone was brought to Kunwa City by Taoist Brother Chu Wei of the Great West Holy Land." He added, "However, he passed away 80,000 years ago, and now his descendants can only be found within the Western Holy Heaven." He continued, "He once told us that if anyone wished to obtain the cursed rock, they must not only look after his bloodline, but also perform a ritual with the stone atop the ruins of the Great West Holy Land to honor his ancestors." He added, "Taoist Brother Chu Wei once promised that whatever was exchanged for the stone would go entirely to us. If the mistress of Demon Mountain wishes to obtain this ominous stone, then we ask that she demonstrates her sincerity." Elder Green Dragon chuckled and said, "Sincerity? All the conditions you raised are of no issue for us. With just a single word from my mistress, I am certain that no one in the upper realm would dare to cause any trouble for the descendants of Chu Wei." Elder Ghost King then smiled slightly and said, "Feel free to mention any other conditions that you may have." The auctioneer then raised his hand and said, "In that case, the ominous stone is yours to take, if you are able to produce 100 immortal crystals." The 2 elders in the mobile palace choked on their words as they exclaimed, 100 immortal crystals. Elder Green Dragon asked, "Are you joking?" He then muttered, "In this vast upper realm nowadays, not to mention 100, even 10 immortal crystals are something few powers can gather." The whole crowd witnessing their reaction remained silent, even Gu Changge. The auctioneer said, "Taoist Green Dragon, if you find it unacceptable, then don't cut the stone. As for what you said, I'm afraid I cannot agree." Elder Green Dragon then yelled, "Sounds like you're deliberately trying to make things difficult for Demon Mountain." Elder Ghost King then shouted as he pointed forward, "Do you truly believe that Demon Mountain is a pushover, or that I am ignorant of the true worth of 100 immortal crystals?" He added, "I challenge you to find anyone in this expansive upper realm who can produce 100 immortal crystals without batting an eye." Gu Changge sighed and stepped forward, saying, "My apologies, but I cannot agree with your statement." He began levitating upward toward the 2 elders above. The auctioneer gestured toward Gu Changge and said, "Young Master Changge spent 100 immortal crystals to cut the immortal fetus, one of the 7 divine stones." He added, "The people of Kunwa City were witnesses to this remarkable feat with their own eyes." The Elder Ghost King asked, "Gu Changge, where did you get so many immortal crystals?" He added, "You must have swindled quite a few people, right?" Gu Changge replied, "Please, Elder, don't slander me. Gathering 100 immortal crystals is a challenge, but I can still afford it." Ghost King gritted his teeth and said, You're truly wealthy and extravagant. Inside the mobile palace, the red-clothed demoness then spoke up. 100 immortal crystals. Demon Mountain truly can't come up with that right now, she added. However, since young Lord Chang can produce 100 immortal crystals, lending me another 100 shouldn't be too difficult, right? The whole crowd gasped in surprise. They murmured, lend 100 immortal crystals? They kept mumbling, setting aside whether young Lord Chang even has that many left. Would he really lend them to this demoness? Another man down below said, sounds like a fool's dream, doesn't it? A woman nearby wondered, or could it be a threat? The red-clothed demoness released an overwhelming aura as she shouted, insolence. The aura swept down, pushing the crowd backward. Only Lady Euphia and a few others stood still. Gu Changge then asked, what makes you think I'd lend it to you? The auctioneer was surprised. What? He then asked, young Master Chang, you still have some? The red-clothed demoness, crossing her legs, asked, so, you won't lend it then? Gu Changge smiled slightly and asked, how are you going to pay me back if I lend them to you? The red-clothed demoness released an overwhelming aura toward Gu Changge and the two elders beside him. She asked, then how do you plan to repay what you owe me? The auctioneer then asked, young Lord Chang, you two know each other? Gu Changge pondered, hiding like this, it turns out you're just an external incarnation. He then took out a small treasure pot full of immortal crystals and said, I can lend you 100 immortal crystals if you want. He added, the question is, do you dare to accept them if I give them to you now? A massive crimson hand shot out of the mobile palace, heading toward Gu Changge. Gu Changge grinned slightly and thought, just an external incarnation won't be enough to deal with me. He rushed toward the massive crimson hand and pierced a hole in the middle of it, heading straight for the mobile palace. The auctioneer and his companion were shocked as they both said, he went in. Gu Changge darted toward the gap of the closing door with blinding speed. Everyone in the crowd below began to wonder. The masked figure thought, he's already strong enough to go head-to-head with the red-clothed demoness. Seriously, no one's going to step in? This is way too outrageous. The Phoenix Lady also pondered, where did he get so many immortal crystals? Something's definitely fishy. Changge at the back thought, don't tell me he's just going to fall here. In that case, he might as well let me claim the spoils first. Lady Euphia also pondered, I haven't even seen my immortal scripture yet. Don't die on me. Lady Shi, Jiang Cheng, and Niu Tian all thought the same. Die inside. Die inside. Gu Changge entered with the immortal crystals and said, I've already walked all the way here. Don't you even want to see me? He then sighed. You really put me in a lot of pain when you poisoned me last time. The red-clothed demoness stretched out her hands to grab the treasure pot and said, enough talk. Hand over the immortal crystals. Gu Changge pushed back her hands and said, so impatient, huh? He added, ready to start grabbing already? No wonder you're a disciple of mine. The red-clothed demoness squinted her eyes as she stared at Gu Changge. Then, boom, a mighty aura burst from the flying mobile palace. The auctioneer speculated, are they fighting? His companion asked, what should I do? Should I step in to help? The auctioneer whispered via voice transmission, don't meddle. Even if Gu Changge falls here, the Gu family will only come after Demon Mountain. He added, taking the chance to weaken the Gu family isn't a bad thing. And if that demoness is eliminated, all the better. In the next scene, we see the red-clothed demoness foot hanging beside Gu Changge's face. She had purposely missed the strike. Her legs still raised high. She said, give it to me. Gu Changge gently placed 2 fingers on her lap and said, if it were your true body, that would be more like it. But relying on this mere incarnation, I'm afraid it won't be enough. He added, and don't forget, everything you know is because I taught you. Chan Hanji's tone was chilly as she assured, I fully intend to repay what I borrowed from you. Gu looked saddened as he said, repay? He added, that won't be necessary. When have I ever said no to your request? Gu Changge then pushed the treasure pot toward her. He said, now you're being so precise with the accounting. When have you never said no to me? As she murmured these words, her eyes flickered with a fleeting emotion before coldness returned to them once again. Gu Changge, opening the door, then said, I don't have any immortal crystals, but there are quite a number of celestial spirits in this. You can keep the remaining for yourself after exchanging them for the rock. The red-clothed demoness looked straight at his back and pondered, "You're a liar. Don't even think about teasing me again." As Gu Changge stepped out of the flying mobile palace, the auctioneer stepped forward and asked, "Young Master Changge, what happened just now?" He kept wondering, "Why did you suddenly fight? Are you unharmed?" Gu Changge calmly replied, "I'm fine. It was merely a minor disagreement." Neo Tian down below was infuriated as he whispered, "Damn, he actually came back unscathed. Could it be that the red-clothed demoness can't even do anything to Gu Changge?" Jiang Cheng used voice transmission and said, "Maybe they reached some kind of shady agreement." Lady, she squinted her eyes and pondered, "I was still hoping we'd at least deal some heavy blows to Gu Changge. Now we've lost all chance of getting the ominous stone." The red-clothed demoness sent out the treasure pot and said, "This ominous stone, my demon mountain will cut it." The auctioneer was surprised as he looked at Gu Changge and wondered. Gu Changge, without looking back, said, "Go ahead and cut it." He added, "I'm curious too about what's inside that demon stone from Kuan Mountain. What exactly does it contain?" The stone continued to radiate an overwhelming, ominous aura. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you won't miss the next update. See you next time.